Happy Thursday, Soonerland, Surgeaholics. Welcome to Sooner Surge. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, lots to talk about, Jay, because the Sooners getting ahead of the game when it comes to NIL and the payment of players and all this future of where the college football world's going, Jay. You got, in my opinion, something that I think could be very significant for this program.
Yeah, I think kind of what Bobby says. It's really early to really know where this is going, but I think it does show you that they're kind of staying ahead of the game, as Bobby put it. They're staying ahead of it. Whatever it may be in the future, they're already, and maybe they're, with Josie and Venables and these guys and Curtis Lofton and now Jake Rosenberg, maybe they are planning for the future in a way that they are just thinking about it now. And so that probably looks appealing to players too. I would think that, hey, this program looks like they're trying to plan for the future. I think it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah. The buzzword that's being used, Jay, is progressive. OU is being progressive and how they handle the future. And again, yeah, from a player's perspective, this is about organization. This is about how this is going to be ran properly and with student interest or athlete interest in mind across the board. And Jay, let's just look at Jake Rosenberg because he had just interviewed recently for the Washington Commanders vice president of football operations. Philadelphia has already talked about hating to lose the guy. I mean, I think this is bigger than a lot of people think.
Yeah, I think it's big news for Oklahoma. And I think once you hear him and kind of hear what his role will be, it'll be a little bit better. Nobody's heard from him. They make the announcement. But the Curtis Lofton thing has been in the works for a while, and now they finally, got that announcement and kind of his position and stuff. Hey, Jackson, great trip, amazing trip. Other than the flights back being canceled and delayed, it was an awesome trip. Really fun. Thanks for asking. Jen, what's up, Jen? How are you?
Did I have a Bloomy? Not sure what that is. Jay, Gary says Rosenberg specifically worked on contract negotiations, salary cap issues with Eagles. Yeah. Hey, I see a lot of people. There's a few people talking about where OU ranks NIL, top 10 or 14th. I'm trying to think. I don't know exactly where they rank, but it's not top 5. Could it be top 10?
Bobby says 14th.
I don't think we're going to ever see those numbers, Jay.
Mark says it's all good until Oklahoma gets punched in the mouth. All this sounds good, but don't mean jack unless we win more games than we're losing it. I agree. I mean, I think we can all sit here and talk about things and where NIL is and the hires and everything looks good, but everything is won and lost on the field. I mean, it is. That's where the rubber meets the road, and that's what's going to happen in the next few years. You got to have great performances over the next 2 years, period. All this we've talked about for however many days it's been in the offseason doesn't matter either. I mean, let's face facts. Until they get out there on August 30th or whatever it is and perform and see how they do, I mean, it's all talk right now.
Sorry, I don't know who the Gap Band is, so I can't answer that question. This is one of those flop hats that turns into this hat, Jay. OU needs to be top 5. They're not there yet. I'm not going to sit here and say they're way outside the top 10 because I don't know, and I don't know if we're going to know. But what OU has done in the last, I guess you could say 3 months, Jay, NIL, I think they've made strides the right way, talking about what they're doing.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, thanks for joining us tonight, Joshua. Dude, y'all are late. That's been known for weeks. What's been known for weeks? Jake Rosenberg? I mean, I know the Curtis Lofton has, but I'm talking, it was formally announced today as far as Jake Rosenberg. So,
were you shocked by it? Were you expecting it, Jay?
I mean, you've heard rumblings that they're trying to figure things out on what they're going to go next steps with Curtis Lofton, but Eric says, no, you need to drop big money for elite offensive and defensive linemen. You don't need Caleb Williams to win an Natty. I think you're right about that. I do think you need a good quarterback, but I don't think you need the best quarterback in the nation every year. I don't think you need that. I think you're better off with offensive and defensive linemen and really good quarterback. You don't need a game changing, like what did they call it, generational talent. You need to get a guy that makes plays. Obviously, look at it, but look at Georgia. Look at Georgia. Georgia won it with who? Stetson Bennett. I wouldn't say he's the most talented quarterback out there.
He wasn't the most talented, but he was pretty good quarterback.
And I agree. Jimmy says the Gap Band was awesome. Never heard of him. I've never heard of it. Done with finesse quarterbacks. You went in the trenches. I don't listen. I understand what you say a little bit on the trenches, but what do you mean by finesse quarterbacks? That's an offense. And most quarterbacks these days are in a spread offense, which is a term finesse. I mean, other than the few teams that don't run a spread offense, I think most people run a type of spread. The thing is, you have to find a way to be physical in the spread offense. I think Levy was trying to do it, but you got to be more physical in the spread. That's what you have to.
It's about your run game, Jay. It's about how you attack. I think physicality in the run game a lot.
I know I've heard that. I've heard that song. Okay. So were they a one-hit wonder? You dropped a bomb on me? Was that one-hit wonder band? Hey, by the way, changing subjects for a minute. Twister comes out in a week. I think I'm going to go see it. It looks really good. But I had to change subject because the Gladiator 2 movie. Wow. Have you seen the trailer for that?
Have not. Is Russell Crowe in it?
No. Denzel Washington.
Have not seen it.
Oh, go watch the trailer after the live. It's going to be legit, epic. Bobby said Gap Man was huge. So.
Oh, I forgot. Maximus did die. Russell Crowe couldn't be in it.
Yeah.
Was who's the villain in that, Jay? Wasn't it the guy who looks like Zach Johnson?
It was Phoenix. Joaquin
Phoenix. Yeah.
In the original.
That is correct. Yeah. Jay, so how, in my opinion, with Curtis Lofton at the GM position, now you have Jake Rosenberg, who I think Joe C obviously is probably giddy about this hire and what this is going to do moving into the future. We don't know where college football is going, except that the salary cap and all the NIL stuff is only going to increase. It's only going to the monster. It's like a snowball. It's going to keep rolling and getting bigger. So if you don't adjust, and I think that's what someone posted earlier in the chat, you're going to get left behind, Jay. And I'm going to tell you a team that could possibly get left behind. And some of you aren't going to like this. Clemson.
Well, I think some of you won't like it. I mean, people have been saying that all off season with the way Dabo's done in the portal. So I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. What do you think the rumors about Clemson and Florida State joining the Big 12, are you buying those or selling those?
Oh, I'm buying them because eventually there's going to be about 2 conferences, Jay.
Wait, you think they're going to join the Big 12, you think?
Unless they go to the SEC, Jay.
I think Yormark's trying to get as many teams as he can before the SEC goes and gets him. So, I mean, I don't like Brett Yormark, but he's been good for the Big 12 as far as when OU Texas left. He's done pretty good getting teams, I think. I don't like the guy, but.
Yeah. A lot of people are buying that, Jay. And it is about the adaptation of the exactly what's happening around it. And there's going to be some guys that just won't adapt, won't change. Would you say, Jay, talking about this Jake Rosenberg, it's going to be interesting what all he's going to do early on. Until things change, I think he's just going to – I read an article, Jane, that talked about how he's going to be helping with recruiting and evaluating talent.
Well, maybe it has to do with how much they paid specific players at each position. I don't know. I really don't know, Jeremy. I mean, I think we'll find out in the near future.
We need to have him on the program, Jan. I know you're going to reach out to him. We need to get him on here.
Already have, but it doesn't. Hey, here's the thing. Until he kind of gets settled in and they see where they're going with this, I think Bobby put in there earlier about I don't know how you cap it. I don't either. Until they get some rules in place, there is no salary cap. You can pay whatever. You mentioned last night with the Oregon donor Phil Knight. He'll unlimited NIL fund. So until you get rules, I don't know what you can really do to it unless you're setting parameters for your own school. Obviously, you can do that.
I did not see, Sooner fan, that the 6'11"
That's too big for an offensive lineman, isn't it?
But I will say this: I did see where 2 Georgia offensive linemen, or maybe one was defense, were in trouble with the law.
Yeah, they've had a lot as far as reckless driving. It seems like.
Hey, if Patty wants to be on the show, I know Jay tried.
Welcome anytime.
She's been asked. We'd love to have her. And here's the deal. I don't know if you can base it on revenue generated, but that could be a thing because obviously the revenue does matter in the end. But some conferences, man, I don't know about that, Jay. And if there is a cap on players, I mean, that's the only fair way. But then what's going to happen if you put that? I think then the equity.
How's that fair to put a cap on players?
I'm saying fair across the board for teams.
Yeah, Chuck, you're right. It's not.
Who said ours wasn't, Chuck?
It's OU's had plenty of guys in trouble.
I'm not. Hey,
OSU.
If there's anyone who doesn't condone what OU players did, it's me. If you heard me right after that happened, and if you're in the Discord, by the way, I know Gary hopped in the Discord today. It was a good day to get in it because it was pretty lively today with the discussion of just things and how things are going to happen in the future. Based on, I think, what the Oklahoma breakdown said, I think is really what it was. But
hey, Gary, this is interesting because you've all heard about the walk-on programs. Maybe college is doing away with those. I kind of agree with you with rosters in some way. Yeah, Chuck, just ignore him. That's the way he is about everything. He gets defensive, gets in a battle. It's like nobody was coming at you, Jeremy. You like to just get on to get defensive. He goes into defense mode. What's that animal that does that? It's not a chameleon. You know which one?
No. You're the chameleon, Jay. You just change your colors to whoever's there. I'm not scared to stand out.
I don't do that at all. I've never done that. No, I don't. I don't do that at all.
I lived with you in the womb for 9 months. I know exactly how you are.
Oh, please. Mondi says OU, one of top revenue teams just behind Texas. Armadillo, they're all saying. Without a collective bargaining agreement with the players, there will be no cap, and right now they have the advantage without CB. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's got to be some things put into place for that to happen. So, again, about the rosters here, right now what's crazy is you just recently, specifically OU, went into a really extensive and extended PWO program where, their preferred walk-on status, and they've got quite a few players from the PWO program. And then you have the walk-on program. I'll be interested to see where they do kind of land as far as rosters and what they decide upon. But I think you're right on that, Gary. I think they probably will be reduced in some way.
I'm just ready to talk football.
I'm ready to talk games.
Well, SEC Media Days is very close, at least. That's going to be good. Well, I want to hear from across the board what people are asked about this season. And hey, Jay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Well, OU usually were the alternates against West Virginia. I think South Carolina is where it's at this year.
I don't even know if they'll wear alternates. We'll see.
Oh, they'll wear alternates.
Now, Jimmy, that's not a bad. What was it? In Rudy, they had practice players, did they not?
It's called Scout Team, Jay.
Yeah,
do you pay those guys, Jay?
I'm not getting into that, Jeremy. I'm not the coach. I'm not the guy in charge of all that. So I could really care less how they do that. Yeah, OU should win the main game. I agree, Ron. What do you think? By 40 on that one? I think that should be an easy win.
I read the article about Jackson Arnold today. I think Sooner Wire put it out, just talking about how we'll see if he's ready to step in and be the guy. Again, you look at the schedule, Jay. To me, it's the Auburn game. Everyone wants to talk about Ole Miss, and I get it, in Missouri. To me, this season really hinges early on it's the Auburn game.
Well, there's a lot of games that hinges on. I'm in the process right now of picking my top 12 as far as playoffs. I'm halfway done. Okay. Halfway done with my top 12 and where I'm going to seed them and everything for the playoffs. I think next week we'll have a show specifically about top 12 and who everybody thinks. I'm about halfway done. I need to think about it some more. But it's interesting when you start doing the seeding and how they're going to do that. I saw something, I don't know if it was on Twitter or what, about how maybe that they're going to also seed based on facilities, how many a stadium holds, money-wise, fan support. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. I don't know if somebody just put that out there to see what people thought, but
hey, Lori, hit the like, and Ron, you're saying Jackson Arnold is overrated on here? I mean, I don't know. It seems pretty even that the scale's not tipping either side, because a lot of people on here are very hesitant about Jackson Arnold, and then there's people like me who are over the top maybe a little bit, but even Paul Feinbaum said he may be the most talented guy in America. Okay.
Hey, real quick, on the playoff committee, top 12, do you think there will be more drama and more heat on the committee this year with 12 teams in seeding and where they seed them compared to 4? I think there'll be more, because it's not just 4 teams and you're leaving the 5th team out anymore. It's 12 teams, and now you're seeding them, and some get home field advantage. I think there's a lot of talk and heat on the playoff committee.
Some of those are going to be pretty self-explanatory. I mean, the win of the SEC. I absolutely love what I saw last year. Absolutely loved it.
Here's the thing, Jeremy. Jackson Arnold's going to go as the offensive line goes, in my opinion. If you give him time and he has time to throw the ball, I think he'll have an outstanding year. If not, I'm not sure experience-wise if, to tuck the ball and not throw it. I don't know yet. So I have to see it. I have to see the offensive line. I think it's going to go with him. I think the offensive line is probably the biggest, most important unit for Oklahoma this year. It is.
And I'll tell you what, based on what. I love that I saw in the one game that he played the entire game, I saw pretty much him make every throw.
But Jeremy,
wait, stop, Jay, stop. Let me talk. I saw him pretty much make every throw. We saw the rollout where he threw unbelievable off to the other foot and touchdown to Nick Anderson, the best play of the year by a quarterback. You got to admit, it was the best play of the year by a quarterback. Now, wait, the mistakes he made were great balls. It's just he made bad read. That's something that comes with, I don't know, something called playing time.
Experience.
Well, I like what I saw.
Thank you. With experience. He hasn't had any, Jeremy.
And I love the deep ball that he threw. Tight spiral is all get out.
Let me compare. Let me do a comparison with you. Okay. Phil Mickelson in golf, pretty good player, right?
Yeah.
Really struggled against Tiger Woods. Why? Besides the fact Tiger was really good, why else?
He choked under pressure, Jay.
No. He didn't know when to not go at the pin.
We're comparing Jackson Arnold to a golfer.
Listen to me.
Your analogies are unbelievable.
Listen to me. I think people in the chat will understand it too. You mentioned it. He can make all the throws. Nobody's doubting that. He's talented, uber talented. Nobody's doubting that. The thing is, if he has pressure and guys rushing him, is he going to try to squeeze it in and make it into a turnover? Or is he going to pull the ball down and throw it away? I don't know that yet. Because
Tuck it and run.
That's a fair thing. Phil Mickelson did not know when to not go at the pin. He went at it and it cost him many tournaments.
I'm not talking about golf. Colin.
Well, Jeremy, I am. I'm comparing. You do comparisons way stupider than that. So
stupider is not a word. I mean,
yeah, like on the Discord today.
Stupider is not a word. Hey, Colin, can you explain to me what the OU move was for adding the Eagles GM? It's the former Eagles GM, and here's the deal. It's all about getting ahead of what's about to happen in college football. That is the reason OU did it, that they bring him in to get ahead of the game, because this world, college football, is about to change. It's going to be much more like the pro game, And that brings me to what Jen says about this whole employee ruling, whether an athlete could be an employee if what they did in the sport was his major contribution to the university. Yeah, and I don't know, Jay. That changes things in some ways.
Yeah, eventually I think everybody's going to be basic employees. I mean, it's going to NFL model. It just is, I think. Hey, as far as Manning, Matt, I agree. The Manning love, he has not done anything. It's only because his last name is why you're hearing about him. I'm not saying he's not good. Don't get me wrong. He might be a really good quarterback. I'm just saying he hasn't done anything yet. And just like I say that Jackson Arnold's only played one game, that's why I can't just say, woo. And I think Jackson Arnold's going to have an outstanding year. I think he's going to be really good. But I'm just saying I think it's fair for people to say, I got to wait and see it because I haven't seen it. I think that's fair. You got to say the same thing about Manning. You haven't seen it.
Ron, I'm taking the under on 15 interceptions. I think he might throw 10 or 11, maybe 10. And Eric, what would I prefer? What you're really saying, Eric, is would you rather have Dillon Gabriel in the Big 12 or Jackson Arnold in the SEC? First off, I don't want – Dillon Gabriel had his chances for 2 years, and we couldn't even make it to the Big 12 championship game. Oh, you couldn't. I'm ready for something new. Sorry.
Hey, if Jackson Arnold has an outstanding year, he will be the youngest quarterback at Oklahoma to do it since who?
Well, technically, he's a sophomore.
Because I don't think – I mean, Spencer Rattler started.
Sam Bradford?
Spencer Rattler started young. I just don't think he tore the world.
Sam Bradford? Was Bradford a sophomore when he played at OU?
Probably Bradford, I think, would be your answer.
Yeah, that's what I think. Independent contractors hired by the university. And then do you pay tax on the stuff that you make at the school, Jay? I mean, there's so much.
Matt says
that's
he would
one reason they bring a guy like Jake Rosenberg in.
Matt says he would prefer no pick six versus KU.
Yeah, that hurt. First play of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Redshirt freshman Bradford, it looks like.
You know there's former players, Monty. There's former players saying, think about what I went through. Now these guys are getting all this stuff. They got to be upset.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah. Bobby. Did somebody say he was a GM? I didn't hear.
Yeah,
that.
Someone said it in the comment. I know he was interviewing at Washington for the vice president of football operations. Bobby says his official title was VP of football administration. And yeah, he did. He managed the cap, contracts, all that stuff.
Easy Street. Thanks for joining tonight. Appreciate you. What do you think about this comment, Jerm? The coaches that worked with both quarterbacks day in and day out let DG go because they preferred Jackson Arnold.
I mean, I don't think there's any there's
no doubt.
I think there's truth in that because you asked me what I thought, Jay. Let me explain it. I do think that the coaches told Dillon Gabriel that's it. I mean, so I do agree with some of that.
I think it's Jackson Arnold's time. So, yeah, I agree.
I just thought it was interesting in the article I read that Jake Rosenberg, it talked about how right now, really what he's going to be doing right now is being part of the recruiting and the evaluating of talent.
We'll see. I think we need to hear from him what he's going to be doing. And Eric, I agree. Like, I think two things are true. Jackson Arnold can have an outstanding year, and you can say that just like you did, Jeremy. And people can also say, I got to see it. He's only started one game. I need to see it. So talk to me about Jackson Arnold after 4 games. And I think a lot of people have a different opinion about Jackson Arnold after 4 games. I don't care who they're playing, Jeremy. At least he's getting playing time.
Well, no, because
why are you turning your head like this when I'm talking? I don't understand.
So if he kills it against the horrible teams, you're on board then?
Jeremy, I have not seen him play but 1 game.
Well, Arkansas State was a bad team. He was 11 for 11.
It is not enough for me to say that, I do think he's going to be great, but I have to see. I don't care who it's against. I got to see something.
Remember July 11th, and if he throws for 400 yards the first 4 games, I don't want to hear out of your mouth that, well, we'll see what he does against Tennessee.
Well, you can still say that, but I'm saying you got to at least see something. Right now, we've seen 1 game, and I think there was some big-time highlights from that game. Big time.
Jerm.
Amazing highlights. I also think there's still questions on turnovers. You have to wait.
I never said there wasn't question marks, Jay. Chuck revealed what to me? What are you talking about? Germ, who revealed that to you? I don't know what that is.
Hey, Bobby, I agree 1,000% with that take. 1,000%. I'm with you 100. Yeah, all the way on that. I have
massive high hopes. It's like Panic at the Disco, high hopes.
Jason, thanks for joining tonight. How could you be involved in how much they make if you weren't involved in the recruiting?
That's true.
Hey, all this stuff is speculation on what anybody's saying about what he's going to be doing because nobody knows yet. Nobody knows. He is not. Have you heard an interview with him yet? I have not.
No, I have not. But Jay, I do agree with Jason here. Just because it says he's involved with recruiting, it could be, about the NIL part of it. Talking to players about pay, evaluating players for how much they should get paid. Because, in the end, I think that's really what he's going to be doing. It's going to be about the money and, again, being ahead of the game.
I will say this, though, about Jackson Arnold is it's been a while since they've had a 5-star quarterback that I feel like a lot of people are hesitant on.
That's true.
Because you look at DG, he had a great year, but a lot of time the OU fans, they want that 5-star quarterback, and they're like, oh, he's the best quarterback I've ever. So I do think there's a lot of people, maybe it was the way Dylan Gabriel left and he had a good year. And so people are like, I don't know about Al Arnold yet. I do think Arnold, highly recruited, is going to have a great career at Oklahoma. We'll just see how long it takes him to kind of get going on that.
Yeah, Landry, I can't remember if Landry was a freshman or sophomore.
OU versus the world, baby. Chuck, I think until he speaks to the media, and here's the deal.
He's saying my comment, Jay.
Oh, okay.
Chuck is saying that. Look, Chuck, all I said was, and I'll say this again for everyone out there so they don't take this and run with it. Jeremy, sitting right here, I did not say why they hired him. What I'm telling you is I said I read an article, and it talked about that's why I have not heard from Jake Rosenberg personally. I'm just letting you know what I read in an article.
Yeah, BYU and Jared Will. Hey, man, I lost my train of thought. But, the good thing is SEC Media Days is next week. And I'm sure Brent Venables will be asked about some of this stuff. So I think it'll be great next week. I'm excited. I think next week's going to be finally some news from OU football, right?
Yeah, it's been a while, Jay. I did. Someone posted in the Discord today, I think Gary did, about each team's sleeper, each top 25 team sleeper. And it talked about Danny Okoye for OU. That edge room is very deep, Jay.
Very deep.
I don't know if he's going to get on the field early unless it's special teams.
We'll see. I saw McElroy put his top 25 out. He had OU at 17. Thoughts?
No shock.
He had OSU at 16.
Yeah, I don't give a rip about Greg McElroy.
Well, who are you most looking forward to hearing at SEC Media Days? Other than any Oklahoma guys, there's 2 guys I want to hear. Other than Oklahoma, okay? That's not.
I got one. Yeah.
One, I want to hear Kalen DeBoer. I want to hear kind of as he's taking over Alabama, kind of just hear what he thinks. The other one, guys, I want to hear Drinkwitz. I think he's going to drop some bulletin board material. I'm ready for it. Eli Drinkwitz will drop some bulletin board material. Book it. I want Lane. I want it for a while. Jimmy's been saying this for a while about Woolard.
Yeah, Jimmy has. Caden Woolard's good, Jay. I think he's gonna maybe impress. I want to hear Lane Kiffin, and just sad news today as Monty Kiffin passed away. But I'm curious to hear Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's always a great interview. Does not just give coach speak. I do think Kalen DeBoer will be pretty much coach speak, Jay. I like guys who don't give coach speak. You like guys who do, I think, because that's kind of fits your MO. You're kind of like that.
Whatever. Hey, SEC Mike and Cousin Shane, I agree. I like them a lot. I think they're pretty unbiased when it comes to – and I know Teddy Lehman ripped them kind of with what he said, I think. Did you see that a little bit of that?
He didn't rip them. He just ripped the SEC, and then SEC Mike went out.
Mike said, I think. It's kind of.
Alabama had several. Who was the other guy? McClellan or McCarron? Scott McCarron? Not Scott McCarron.
Right. AJ McCarron.
Yes, he was another one, Jay.
Yeah,
and then
you could go down the list of it. Go right now.
Mac Jones.
Go down the last 10 national championships, and I would beg to say that most of them didn't have the best quarterback in the NCAA.
Yeah, and Jimmy.
Do you think Tua was the best quarterback in the NCAA?
No, he probably wasn't the best quarterback on his team.
He was better than Jalen Hurts.
Hey, SEC Unfiltered has OU ranked 11th. I hope people keep ranking OU 11th. OU plays better when it's like that.
And I agree. I think I agree with this, Eric. I do.
But the game manager's got to be able to make the big throws.
They got to have the talent to make the plays, yes. Either with your leg or with your arm. And here's the big thing. You're not going to win a championship if your quarterback is turning it over a lot. So it's got to be somebody that doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah. And OU Monster, I hope, is waking up big time. Speaking of big time, Jay, tomorrow night's Friday night.
Big time tomorrow night.
The reveal is going to happen as to the rules for the new challenge for the next month for tickets. And these are sweet tickets. We're talking low in an end zone. OU versus Houston, a night game, 6:45. Thanks to the fan stop, we're going to be giving away some tickets to the OU Houston game, and you're going to want a chance to win, and you're going to have a chance. It's going to be, I think, a fair chance based on how we're doing this, Jay, but a lot of things coming your way. Sooner Surge Unlimited members, some special things for you only, and then those who are in the shirt of the month. It's going to be great. Cannot wait. Trivia starts back too. Can't wait.
That's right. I agree with Bobby's comment too. Chuck says, I only like them because they say good things about OU. LOL. My point is they do say good things about OU, but then they also say bad things about OU. I think they're unbiased. That's my point. They don't always say good things about Oklahoma. So, hey, Susie, got to land him, man. Got to land him.
Hey, and Monty, Jada Coleman lost to Lamar Jackson, which was an absolute travesty because it was a first down play, or it wasn't even like a big-time moment in the game. I thought Jada had a better chance of winning than the team won. When I got on here, the team would have not been announced, so I doubt they win.
Correct.
Fasusi is massive. Jay, July 20th, there's someone dropping top 6, I believe. Floyd Bouchard.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see on that one. Hey.
July 20th.
Bobby, I understand, but Texas also has lost a lot, like you said. So maybe that doesn't bode well for them getting Fasusi. I mean, they've lost a lot. I think they fell down to – are they in the 30s now? Are they ranked in the 30s in the recruiting class?
I don't know, but, Jay, let me ask you this before we get off here. Does this hire of Jake Rosenberg at all affect some of these guys coming up? I think it could, Jay. I think it could sway them.
How?
Because the pitch that could be made is we are out in front of all this. This guy was in the NFL. He knows exactly all this stuff.
What does that matter for a player right now, Jeremy? That's a silly, dumb comment, I think.
Okay. Call me silly, call me dumb. I don't care. I don't care.
I just think I think the hire is great, but I think it has nothing to do with recruiting right now. Maybe for the future and everything.
Hey, and Eric, they may say, we'll pay you the money and we're going to actually show you what we're doing in the future. And other teams can't do that right now, maybe. So that's all I'm saying. I may be wrong because, as Jay said, I'm silly and dumb. But, hey, thanks, everyone. Thanks, everybody, for being on here tonight. Appreciate you all. We will see everyone tomorrow night. The big reveal as far as next month's trivia challenge and how you can win the tickets to the OU Houston game. We will see you all tomorrow night. Thanks for being on here. As always, Boomer.